Keep turning it clockwise and it'll make the lights brighter. I'll open the glove box. The one in the glove box works. Riding in the dark or whatever, you can really easily see what's in there, not have to worry about too much. And then same thing with your other storage area, stuff on the floor. It just gives a nice ambient light to everything. Welcome back, everybody, to the MCE Off-Road Garage. Today we have our HD11 in here. We're going to be doing our interior light kit. The kit's on a dimmer switch, but it'll allow you to give a little bit of light into some storage areas in the interior, especially the glove box. You know, if you're at night riding or anything like that, you'll be able to find what you need, whether you drop it on the floor or if it's in your glove box or in a storage area. You can put a little bit of light on there and not have to worry about it being overwhelming light in the cab. So we'll go through the overview, the installation process, and then we'll show you what everything looks like. So let's get into it. Here's a quick overview of what you're going to get in your interior light kit. As always, you're going to get paper instructions. You can reference those, but obviously you're going to be watching the video. You're going to get a little baggie here. It'll have a black dimmer knob, silver, and the locking nut. There'll also be a fuse, and then two little pieces of paper, just kind of details on some of the parts that, you know, the lights, what holds the drill, and the dimmer knob would hold the drill and that kind of stuff. But we're going to go through that all in the video as well. That's just more for reference. Other than that, it's going to come with your main harness here. It's going to go to your terminal block. It's got your dimmer switch on it, all the connections for the lights. Obviously it'll come with the lights in whatever color that you had selected during your purchase. Most common is white or amber, but we do have red, green, blue. So there's also going to be a bundle of zip ties in there as well. Kind of help you tidy up your wires and keep everything nice and clean after your install. So at this point, we're going to jump over to the machine and start installing this stuff. All right, so to remove the pillar panel covers here, the process is going to be the same for the driver and the passenger. You're going to pull out 3 push pins. There's one here, 2, and then 3 up at the top, and then remove this T30 Torx. It's up at the top of the pillar. Then you're going to go ahead and take a small screwdriver and get it behind this clip on the shock mount here. And you're just going to pull this clip out towards the center of the machine, and then it will release the shock from the mount. And then from that point, then you can pull your pillar off around this shock mount bolt. You're going to want to do this just one side at a time. After you have the pillar removed, you're going to want to go ahead and just take your shock and then just click it back on there, so that way, you know, at least one shock is holding the window up at a time. That way you don't have to worry about it falling down. The other note is this little air vent. There's a rubber vent guide behind it that's attached to it. Just make sure that when you're pulling that apart, that is going to kind of give you a little bit of tension from pulling it off. But you pull on it and the rubber boot will come off the plastic. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to pop off these cover panels. There's one on the driver's side, same way on the passenger side. But right here you can just get your thumbs underneath here, just lift up, and then it pops up, and then you can sneak it out like that. Once you have that out, then we're going to go ahead and remove these 3 T30 Torx bolts for the window latch, and we're going to move that out of the way too. All right, now that we pulled off the side panels, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T30 Torx bolts that need to be removed first. Alright, so now that you got your bolts removed from the dash panel, all you have to do is just grab on this front edge and just lift up on it, and then it will unsnap from its spots, and then you can lift it up and out away from these shock mounts here, and then you just slide it right out of place. Alright, so now with the dash out, we're going to start installing the lights for the interior. So placement's up to you. Just make sure that your wire lengths are going to work beforehand. You're gonna take your wires and you can route them, just kind of eyeball them kind of where they're gonna go. For this kit, you're gonna use a 7/16 drill bit for the holes. Placement that we typically use is going to be one in the top of the glove box here, so that way you have light in the glove box when you want it. One in the side right down here in this cubby, so that way you have some light in this cubby as well. One right on the bottom side of the plastic here on the passenger, and also one on the driver's side in roughly the same location, close up to the side, to the center side here. So then to run your wires, what you want to do is there's two little nuts that are on the light. You're just going to take those off, throw them all the way down off the bottom, and then you can feed connections up through, feed the light up through. Go ahead and then you put one of the nuts on first, over the top. Get this tag out of the way. Right, tighten the first one up. And now when you're tightening this up, you can hold the light on the inside, pushing it firm against the bottom. Get that tight, and then go ahead and use the second one as a jam nut, so that way the first one doesn't come loose. And then you're going to want to do that for all the lights in the kit. Follow the same process, and then we'll move on to the rest of the connections. Alright, so this one here, little trick, we routed it up through the bottom. There is just enough room to get a couple fingers up back behind there, and then you can kind of thread the nuts on there. It is tight, but going through the bottom is going to be the best way to do that. And then both the wires for the lower one and this center lower glove box, I guess is what we're going to call it. Then we're going to take those wires and we're just going to route them right up these stock wires up through the top of the dash. Alright, so for the passenger side lower lights and the driver side lower lights, we're going to show you a little trick. You can take a scrap piece of wire, about 4 or 5 feet long, or string, just whatever you may have. You can route it down from the top, kind of use gravity as your friend. Push it down, it'll come out down here by the stock wiring. Then you can just take these plug ends along with this wire, put it on there. You can then use your electrical tape, tape them all together. Then you can go ahead and pull the wires up through to the top. And then you do the same thing over on the driver's side. Alright, so the next step to gain easier access, we're actually going to mount our dimmer switch right down here where this little cutout emblem is. So we're going to remove this panel here. We're just going to take it, we're just going to pull it towards you. It'll pull off, and then you can get better access to, get your hand back in here. So here's the harness for the power. It's got the dimmer switch on it. Initially, what we're going to do, we're just going to plug the lights into this harness to start off, so it'll make it a little bit easier later on. So for the dimmer switch hole, we're going to use a 25/64. Just going to go right in the center of that part, best we can. And then we're going to go ahead and feed this through the back side, and then put the nut and the knob that was supplied with the dimmer switch on. So now I got the switch down there, got my hand behind it holding it. You can kind of feel where on and off is. If you turn it all the way counterclockwise and it clicks, that's the off position. So you can kind of feel where that's going to be. I always point it over to the left. Then you're going to take your washer here. It's got this raised section on one side. The raised section goes out towards the end of the switch. Screw that on there, tight as you can by hand. If you want, you can grab a little small channel locks or some small pliers and tighten it up if you really want to. I'm just going to leave it like that. And then, because you know it's in the off position, push your knob onto the splines that are on the switch itself. Alright, so now at this point, you can kind of, you know where your wire's going to be, how much slack you have in them, depending on where you mounted them. So you can zip tie these together with the supplied zip ties in the kit. Just kind of clean everything up. Make sure this one's up out of the way, so that way it's, you know, routed to the side, so it's not going to get into the shifter area. Now, normally, this is our auxiliary power kit. So we're going to route this kind of down back over here, but otherwise there's ways to, you know, zip tie it around this little plastic hook that's underneath here and then across. You know, you can, there's ways to get it to where it's not going to be sitting in there. You just zip tie it off to the side. But then after that, you're going to hook up your power and your ground. This has accessories installed on it from us already, so these nuts don't come stock on the machine. These are actually going to come in your kit. So if you haven't installed anything yet, there won't be anything on there. But you're going to take your power red to the red side, black to the black side, and then basically put your nuts back on, and then we'll test functionality after that. Alright, so to test functionality, you're going to put your key on. We're just going to hit the start button once to get the power to turn on to all the accessories. Dimmer switch should be in the off position, so we're just going to go ahead and turn it clockwise to turn it on. And then we're going to keep turning it clockwise, and it'll make the lights brighter. Turn the other way dimmer, but just make sure that they all work. I'll open the glove box. The one in the glove box works. That'll be real nice when we're riding in the dark or whatever. You can really easily see what's in there, not have to worry about too much. And then same thing with your other storage area, stuff on the floor. It just gives a nice little ambient light to everything. If you turn it down, well, you ride around, barely even notice it's on, but it kind of gives you some light. And then if you need more light, if you drop something, you can turn it up. So that will complete the installation on this kit. You go ahead and put your dash panel and pillars back on, all that stuff in the reverse order. If you guys have any questions on the interior light kit, or before you buy or during installation, you can let us know. We'll help you out best we can. And other than that, safe riding, everybody.